It is the first day of December. We're moving into winter, a time of darkness, time of coldness. In 3 weeks from today, it will be the longest night, the darkest night, and the shortest day of the year. Some people love it. They find this to be a cocooning time. Maybe go with their bear hibernation time. Maybe turn inward more. And some people find it a little disorienting, a little scary, a little depressing. Sometimes I think of the early humans who were just becoming conscious in their brain, just developing their frontal cortex a little. And at this time of the year, all the leaves drop off the trees and it looks like they're dead. And how scary that must have been to wonder, to think maybe they won't come back. Maybe this is the end of things. Which is why the indigenous people adopted the evergreen tree, the tree that's still green when everything else looks dead. And light, putting candles on those trees, building fires, and of course then Christianity uses it with our Christmas trees and our lights. And this is the time, the season, nature's season of darkness. As a nation, we may be entering a time of darkness. I hope not. I hope not. And if we do, or if we don't, where I'm finding my ground right now is in an adage that the best time and place to see the stars is in the darkest night. So you know what I've decided? I'm gonna be a star. And I know right here, I am in a community of stars. So that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on the star that we are. We remember that we're all, and what is a star? It's been spoken of. We get out of duality consciousness. We get out of us, them, good, evil. We get out of that. We remember unitive consciousness. We are all one. And in that divinity, we are all connected, no matter what it looks like. We're all connected. In the Joe Dispenza retreat, we experienced when we go to the silence, that sense of connection, that knowing where all of us are one. Now, Joe Dispenza has all kinds of scientific data about manifestation and healing and blood levels and heart improvement, everything, healing. And what I came away with from that retreat, among other things, was greater awe and respect for Myrtle and Charles Fillmore. Because they didn't have the scientific data back in the 1880s. And they didn't have the means to collect the scientific data. But they went to a New Thought talk, and Myrtle Fillmore, who had been diagnosed with terminal illnesses and struggling with those since she was a child, including tuberculosis, which was incurable at the time, she said, I can work with this. People said, oh, go back there. She said, no, I'm going to work with this. So they just knew it in here. They knew everything that now we know. Dispenza calls his work the science of mysticism. But they went on faith from what they knew in their heart. And Myrtle worked and studied for 3 years, worked on all this, and voila, what emerged? Affirmative prayer, which is one of our most important tools, where we, as Chris did in that wonderful meditation, we go to our source, and all kinds of healing. Myrtle, healed herself lived till she was 83, I believe it was, up into her 80s. And then people started saying, I want some of what she got. So people started coming to their living room. And she was doing healings, and the living room got too small for all the people that were coming, and that's how the unity movement began. Oneness. And out of that came the laws of abundance, the 12 powers that we have by virtue of the divine of us. What amazing miracles were the Fillmores. Sylvia Clute, who is founder of the Alliance for Unitive Justice, speaks of this oneness. She says, when we activate that principle of oneness, we are expressing our co-creative function as both physical and spiritual beings, just what we believe in unity, conferred upon us by our all-encompassing benevolent source, who many people call God. She goes on to say that when we act from the disorganizing principle of duality, we have lost touch with our God-given nature and operate from fear and lack. And that is what the metaphysical meaning of the Garden of Eden and the fall is about also. What were Adam and Eve not to do? Eat of the tree of good and evil. Partake of duality thinking. They had this wonderful relationship with God, and the Unity books tell us, and Fillmore says, that it was out in the ethers. And the fall was not only into denser atomic frequency, it was this fall into matter. And we're all wanting to get back there, and we can do it. We can do it with that source in us. Dispenza says that sometimes in the beginning of the week-long retreats, even billionaires who are feeling that need for source and disconnected, they keep trying to get more and more and more and more, and it never satisfies them. More and more is never enough when we're disconnected. So the first thing a star does is to remember oneness. In the Unitive Justice class that I took, guess what we called the person who had acted in a way that had led to that another person had been harmed by or who had experienced as harmful? We don't call them the criminal. We don't call them the offender. We call them either the wounded one or the actor in an event. So either from a place of compassion, the wounded one, or neutrality, an actor in an event. We never know. We never know how wounded some person is or people are. And so instead of judgment, we find a way, holding that oneness, to hold them in compassion and love and acceptance. And also, Unity also believes in, what's the repeated lifetimes? Reincarnation. I couldn't read my note. Thank you for your help. That's how it is in your community of stars. Here's what else I refuse to do as a star, and I invite you to consider this. I refuse to project gloom and doom into the future and feel bad. Now, some people I respect are doing that, and they're preparing for the worst. So you take it under advisement. I'm not going to do that as a star. If something really bad, because what do I have? Where am I going to go? I am going to go into this precious present moment. And if something happens out here in the future, I'll deal with that from this precious present grounded moment. Joe Dispenza says that only 50% of things that we think are going to happen in the future happen. So I'm going to stay in this present moment as fully as possible. A star up in the heaven sees things from a higher perspective. A star holds the high watch. That may not be that may not be apparent from a lower perspective. And what else does a star do? We twinkle. We twinkle. Wherever we are called to bring in a piece of our own unique twinkle, our own unique God-given gift, we twinkle it. And you know what else? We love to twinkle up there with lots of other stars. We are not lone rangers when we're a star. We hang in with our communities, and we love twinkling together. Authoritarianism seeks to divide and isolate, and that can get lonely and scary, and worst of all, we get vulnerable to not good things. We don't want to be vulnerable like that, so we treasure our communities. We love and respect our community of stars, which we are here. Being a star means to speak the truth, not with anger or hatred or violence, but with compassion or with neutrality. Linda Martello, and we speak it clearly. Linda Martello Whitsitt says, "What gets spoken in vagueness stays in vagueness." I love that. So when we have to speak a truth, even when it's hard, we say it clearly. It also means to bear witness to that which is not good and to that which is good, because we need to bear witness to both. It needs to stand up for others sometimes. And here's a big one. It means when we get triggered, to use that opportunity to see what triggers us for our own healing, so that we can continue to evolve and shine even more brightly. And a star is noble. Now, what's the metaphysical meaning of noble? What it means is that we are conscious of the divinity of ourselves, and we, like everyone else, we hold the knowing of their divinity, whether they know it or not. As nobility, when we lead with righteousness from a righteous place, a good place, and with courage, and we keep everybody in mind. We serve everybody that we lead. So, are we stars? Raise your hand if you know you're a star. Yay, we're all stars. And since we're entering the Christmas season, let's remember the story of the star that guided the wise men, which I'm going to call wise people. The Hebrew Bible was written back when there was more patriarchy than there is today. So we're going to call it wise people. Otherwise, I couldn't talk about it. Old feminists never die. So this is an archetypal story following the star. You know, the fairy tales and the myths are full of this. Oh, the butterfly will tell me where is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So here are these wise people, and they're said, you've got to follow a star, and you're going to find the newborn Messiah. Are you kidding me? So they're supposed to be wise people. They're esteemed in their community. Go follow the star. So they did. That star, metaphysically, is the part of us that guides us home to something in us, in the divine, that is our next new evolving twinkle, our next new evolving gift, the nascent new divine of us, newly evolved. So, what I'm going to do in this last part of this message is to invite you to deepen into the star of you. And I'm going to offer first a sitting meditation, and then it's going to be followed by a walking meditation. Now, why are we going to do a walking meditation? Well, in the first night of Linda Martello Whitsitt's retreat, she says that when we say amen, and she had us do a moving affirmative prayer that first night. So at the last, when we say amen, she had us start walking, because amen says, I know the ground I've found in going into the silence. I know where I stand, and walking means I take it out into my life. That's our fifth principle. Knowing from the wisdom of going within, we take action in the outer world. So we're going to do a walking with your star intention, with your intention of you as a star. Now, both portions of this will be accompanied by different music. So after the sitting meditation has ended, there will be just a few seconds of silence as you take that in. And then I'm going to invite you, and some new music will begin, and I'm going to invite you to stand. And those of you who are willing and want to walk as a star, the ushers are going to start in the back rows, Susie and Mary Wiley, and the people at the end of the back rows are going to step out with the music playing, and they're going to have a basket with a little star for you to pick up and take with you. Because the inner meditation is going within, but I want you to have a little star you can put on your altar, or you can hold it in your hand as a talisman when you need to be strong and be a star in some way. So what you will do is you will take the star, and with intention, you will walk down this center aisle, around and back up the sides and back into your seat. And Mary and Susie are going to move down the aisles in good timing. And when everybody is back in your seats, if you've been unable to walk, or for whatever reason you don't want to walk, you can raise your hand. I'll give you an opportunity to raise your hand, and the ushers will come and pass the basket, and you can get a star as well. So, and when you start walking, you're going to do what Maharishi Mahesh Yogi called 1 foot on each side of the river. 1 foot of you is going to stay in that meditative space, that side of the river. And the other foot is going to stay in the safe, mindful walking space. Okay? Both sides of the river. All right. So, if you will, we'll put on the music for the sitting meditation. And I invite you to take a deep breath and either cast your eyes downward or close them, as Chris said. Let your eyelids relax. Mark, I think this is for the walking meditation. Please mute it quickly. Thank you. It's okay. This music was challenging to get together. I just love everybody that's worked with it. You got the sitting one, Mark? And as he finds that, you can just allow yourself to relax. There we go. Just a little lower. And you find yourself in times of old, and you are a wise person in your community, a wise man, a wise woman, considered perhaps a wise elder. And because people treasure your wisdom, they support you financially, and maybe you even have a good business, prosperous business, and you live in comfort. And all of a sudden, something inside says, there's going to be a star. And it's going to guide you to the newborn divine. And you say, oh, that's ridiculous. What do you mean? I'm comfortable here. I'll just think about that divine. And something inside says, no. You got to go find that star in the sky, and you got to follow that star. So with some reluctance and a sigh, you walk outside. And in that black night sky, full of stars, there is indeed one star that is very bright and very sparkly and very twinkly, and you know that you must go. So you gather your belongings and you travel by day and by night. And in those lands long ago, it was a desert travel. So you had to encounter rocky places and dangerous reptiles, snakes. You had to encounter your fear that you're on a fool's errand, your doubt, your challenge to your faith, your feelings of unworthiness. You encounter all of those on your journey, and yet you find yourself protected. And as you get closer with a big sigh, you just blow out all of that. All the doubt, all the fear, all the worry, all the feelings of, I'm not worthy. No, you're a wise person. And amazingly, because you are the protection of God, and especially when we go out, when we step out in those places that are scary or seem what? Ridiculous or undoable or what? When we know that is God's guidance, we are protected. So you travel, and you travel, feeling more and more at ease, feeling more and more a sense of inner knowing, of rightness inside you. And indeed, you come to a stable, and the stars shining right over that stable. You go inside, and in the manger is a baby. And that baby is the newborn, the nascent newborn evolution of the divine in you. The newborn, evolving way that you are going to sparkle in your life. The new, evolved divine. And you may see it, or you may feel it inside your heart. You may have words for it, or you may know it and just hold the knowing, and you will know how that newborn, nascent, newly evolving part of the divine of you, that new twinkle, will manifest. You know how that new twinkle will manifest. What is yours to do as a star? Let's just sit with that for a few seconds, half a minute. Let me know what is the new evolving aspect of the divine, of the star in you. And leaving, slowly preparing to leave that place where you've encountered that newly evolving twinkle of divine of you. You know that you can come back here anytime you want or need to. And you slowly walk outside, and you look up, and that star is still there, twinkling. And you feel what you felt in your heart inside with your new emerging twinkle. And you also see that star, and something amazing happens. Something really amazing. That star starts coming closer and closer and closer and closer to you. And all of a sudden, you become one with that star. You and that star are one. You each are the other. And that star nestles in your heart, and you can feel it sparkling, and you feel the joy and the love of the star that you are. Feeling that joy and that love and that gratitude. Feeling it all over your body. Knowing it in your mind. Knowing it in your heart. Illuminating every cell of your body. Feel that. Be that now. As we fade out this music. Go into just a little silence.
Hi. If this video has inspired you, opened your heart, expanded your consciousness, filled you with hope, empowered you in some way, we encourage you to support what we offer here at Unity Center of Peace by making your donation now. And thank you.